All right, let's do a little test of the audio here. Testing, testing, testing. Just make sure the audio is working okay and you can see me. All right, welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this day after Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good one and are covering today. Today is November 24th, 2023. All right, so a few administrational items I'm going to cover first before we dive in. But this is an event or a webinar where we're going to analyze stocks that you want me to look at, and just type those stocks or ETFs in the client commentary rather, and do that in caps for me, okay? It just makes it easier for me to see. All right, so let's see who's on holiday and who's here today. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, first thing I want to cover, of course, are the risks involved in trading. We like to make everybody aware that whenever we trade or even invest in the financial markets, there's no guarantees. Everything is probabilities in the market, and also using risk control and so forth. So we're going to look at stocks. I'm going to make recommendations based on my analysis, my opinion, but definitely run those by your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure they're suitable for you. I don't really know your personal situation, obviously, but they do, and they can give you some good advice on those. Also, too, trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. That's really important. And past performance does not guarantee future performance. I think we all know that. But you do need to protect yourself. And you also need to know how to apply risk control on each and every trade. And we can help you with this. I've written several books on money management that may be of interest to you. I'll put the link for these books in the recording when I get it all set up there. And you can click on that link and order any of these books. They're all available. My newest book, The Art of Trading, second edition on the far right, being published by Wiley, is due out and in 2024. So that's going to be a great book, probably one of the best books I've written. We're going to cover a lot of information about the current markets as well as software that we use and how we use it. And also, too, there'll be a lot of information for you to kind of gain insight on what kind of trader you are in that book. So that's going to be an excellent book. All right, now we're going to be looking at a lot of charts using my software. And we have software that basically tells us when to go into the market, when to exit the market, looks at price patterns, it looks at momentum. So I'll go over a little summary on what that looks like when I look at charts here in just a minute. But we also have scanners. We're not going to use those today because you're going to give me symbols today. And of course, our scanners are how we basically find the stocks to trade, because, you know, there's over 10,000 stocks out there, if not more. But the scanners work on stocks, they work on futures markets, they work on Forex, basically any type of information or data that you're trying to analyze for a particular market, you can apply these scanners to. And then at the bottom row there, we have all our risk control software. If you do not have a solid risk control program in place, then I don't care what system you're using, because not every trade's going to work. You have to protect your downside. And risk control, that includes the calculation of trade size, also known as position size in the market. And that basically means how many shares of a stock you're going to buy if you are going to exit at a certain price. these calculators or software automatically tell you the correct trade size, so your risk is kept in line. So that's really, really important to do. And then finally, take a moment right now for us and give us a like. Will you do that for us now? Because that helps us in the YouTube. The more likes we get, the better apparently our ratings are in YouTube. So give us a like right now. We really appreciate that. And then we just finally want to thank everybody for being here. I know it's Fridays are a busy time for everybody. So thanks for taking the time. We'll make it worthwhile to you. All right, so let's jump in and take a look at my setup here. Okay, so you're looking at 3 charts set up on my NinjaTrader charting platform. Now, our software works on a variety of different platforms, and this happens to be the NinjaTrader platform. It's a really nice platform. It imports various forms of data feeds, or you can get your data feed directly from Ninja, which I recommend because it seems to work best that way. But the other imports work fine, and you can also associate it with your brokerage and so forth. At the top here is our scanner. We're not going to be using that, but we are going to be looking at the charts below. So notice, for example, in this example, I have 3 charts all looking at applied materials. And the chart on the left is looking at a chart called a 60-minute chart. And what that means is that every price bar you're looking at here represents an hour or 60 minutes. This is technically considered a short time frame. It's an intraday time frame. We look at it because it kind of gives us an inside look at something we may be interested in a little longer term. And that brings us to the daily chart in the center, which gives us what I would call an intermediate look, or really a normal look at what you're thinking about buying or selling. When you go to a website or you open up any magazine, chances are you're going to look at a daily chart. They're going to show you the daily charts. That's a pretty standard chart for what we call position trading, which is a normal form of trading, not considered day trading. And then if we look at the far right, this is a weekly chart. This is a long-term chart. And this gives you a very good long-term look at where we think the market is going, what cycle it's in, and so forth. When we, for example, even analyze mutual funds, we use the weekly chart. If we're looking at a long-term position and maybe a major tech stock or something like that, we're going to look at that long-term chart as well. So when we look at many stocks today, you're going to see us looking at these 3 different time frames. Now, that the software that we have loaded into each chart is the same, and it is our software. So when you see these little triangles up here, this is technically the ART software working. We also have greed bars showing from the ERI at the bottom. We have trend lines, and then the indicators at the bottom. This one's called the OWL, which measures momentum and helps us count what we call the Elliott wave, which is a form of technical analysis that looks at cycles or waves in the market. And then below that is the PTF, Precision Trend Filter. And what this does is when it's green or red, it's indicating more highs or more lows. Then under that is the TLM, the Trend Line Master, which automatically draws these nice trend lines on the chart. And also under that's the ERI, which is the Emotional Reader Index. It's measuring fear and greed on markets as they get away from normality or normal trend lines. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. All right, so I wanted to jump in. I wanted to take a look at a couple markets before we get going. And the first one actually is GBTC. Now, GBTC is an ETF for Bitcoin. And as you know, we've recommended Bitcoin now for quite some time, especially when it was under 10 bucks. And now it's getting up to $31. So let me just move this possible area up where we're looking at a particular situation where it's still going up, but we do expect some type of normal profit-taking pullback at some point. It looks like for right now, we've got on the chart on the left, which is our short-term chart, which is going to tell us what's going to happen sooner than the other charts. We've got a green owl down here, so that's bullish, that's good. We've got a green PTF here, that's indicating more highs. So it looks like this is going to continue to make highs, at least probably for another week or so. And we have to be careful here because we are seeing a little bearish divergence. So when we make a new high and compare it to a previous significant high, which is over here, we look at the owl and notice that the hump on the owl here is less than here. So that's called bearish divergence. So prices are making a high, but the owl is not. That's the key there. And so you can have bearish divergence for quite some time, but it's also indicating there's a little less steam in the run than it had before. You usually get that near a top of some sort of run. Now, long term, I think GBTC is probably going above 60. All right, so I'm very bullish on the cryptos right now. I think they pulled back, put a bottom in earlier in 2023, and now they are, of course, on the move back up. Doesn't mean you're not going to get a significant pullback. You might get a pullback into the 20s at some point, but it looks like it may be a great another buying opportunity, but I still think it's good to go long term regardless of what it does. So I want to make you aware of that one. The other one I wanted to take a look at real quick here is one of the ones in the real estate market called CPT. And this is basically a housing ETF. And there are many type of REITs, by the way, which are the ETFs that specialize in real estate. And some have to do with commercial real estate. Some have more housing in there. CPT is a good one for housing market. And as you can see, it's been, sliding down, no surprise, okay? Higher interest rates and lower supply have definitely made the real estate market sell off here. Prices, the interesting thing about it is prices for the most part are still maintaining pretty well. Sales have gone down. Now, it looks like on the 60-minute chart, we may see some bullishness come back in a little bit. Maybe the announcements of the interest rates on hold here may have something to do with that. So we're probably due for a pullback on this, but because this is red and this is red over here on the PTF, on the long and the regular daily chart, intermediate chart, I think any movement to the upside is going to be temporary from a technical standpoint. So I expect more bearishness at some point in real estate coming back. So just a nice little way in order to gauge whether a market is ready to rally or maybe not. And in real estate, I don't think so. All right, so there it is there. All right, let's take a look at the oil market. And Jim, I think this was one you wanted to look at as well. So why don't we jump in and take a look at yours at this point. All right, so we'll take it. The USO market is an ETF symbol for crude oil. All right, so we'll open that up. And quickly we'll go from, doesn't matter if you go from right to left or left to right, but as long as you cover all the charts. So actually, if we open up this weekly chart, we actually think crude oil is going to return back to the upside and go to this target. Now, these two blue lines represent Fibonacci extension lines. Sometimes we draw them in as Fibonacci retracement lines. So we had a nice move up. We had a pullback in between these lines. We had a nice move up off the bottom, and now we had a pullback. And so now we're expecting this pullback to end at some point and get more bullishness. So our target for USO and crude oil, again, is back to the upside between 98.5 roughly and 123.5. So that means probably prices at the pump should start going back up at some point. But for right now, it's still, I think, pulling back. We're going to look at that 60-minute chart now, where you can see a red PTF over here still. So we're still sliding down. Okay, so, and this, you have the bearish triangular pyramid trading points of the ART system indicating a movement down, a bearish trade in place. So in this case here, USO, I don't think has pulled back enough yet before it can rally. So call it profit taking, call it whatever you want, but it is definitely still sliding a bit. So that's where we are in USO. After the slide, do expect more highs. All right, IWM. Let's check that one out. All right. So on this one here, we have a little bit of a move up occurring recently. And we have on the short-term chart, the 60-minute chart, a green PTF and a green owl. So we're still making highs, we're kind of in an area here that we're kind of keeping an eye on. See this little target area here? We kind of want to see what the market's going to do, because is this a bottom, or is this just a temporary bottom for profit taking and we're going to get a return back to the downside? So we kind of got to, again, keep an eye on that. I'm going to open up the weekly chart here, and you can see this consolidation we've had in this market here for quite some time. We did have a little breakdown, new bottom here. We still have red here, no red here, so that's a good sign. So we may get a spring to the upside here. All right, we're going to have to kind of give it a little more time at this point here, but we're starting to get a bounce off that bottom here. So we'll keep an eye on it. If you wanted to take a long trade here, kind of tough to know where the target is. That's the problem with this one, is that where is the target? So pretty tough. If this is a bottom here, then the target's going to be above 250, and it'll be a great trade. If this is not a bottom, and yet this is just a pullback, profit taking in a downtrend, then you're going to get more selling. So what do you do in a case like this? Well, you've got green here, you've got green here, you've got green here, no red here, no red here. I think you have to assume that this could be a possible bottom and make the trade. All right, and if that's the case, your target should be up here. So put your stop down below the bottom, go here, all right, and do your trade size and make this your target over here. And I think at this particular point, you've got good risk to reward. So let's put IWM for right now on the buy list. Okay, let's put that on the buy list. All right, good. All right, Al, good to see you here. Let's go over yours. All right, BBY. Okay, so BBY has been coming down for quite some time, and now we want to see basically, I guess, if it's a possible long, right? So let's take a look at some things. All right, on the weekly chart, you can kind of more clearly see the downtrend, right? And notice we still have an active pyramid when we still have red here. The good thing is no red is here and no red is here on the PTF, right? We've got a move coming off the bottom. We've taken out the pyramid on the center chart or the daily chart. So let's open that up so you can see what I'm talking about. So how these pyramids work is you maintain your short position. However, a possible exit is at the top of the pyramid. So, or the flat part of the pyramid. So at this particular point, this pyramid is no longer active because prices are above the flat part of the triangle. All right, so at that particular point, that opens your way up for a long trade. Now you've got a long trade here, you had it back here, green, green. This PTF, take the highest price in the green area, so we're not looking at a significant amount of upside before this PTF will turn yellow. So we've got to be, you can't really use that for a target, so it's not so much. So I think what you want to do is we want to make sure this bottom is done here, all right, before we go on any further. Now, let's see what we got here. A little bit of interest here. What concerns me a little bit here is that I'm looking for, is this an A, B, C? And if so, C is the same distance as the A wave, which is good. If this is an A and this is a B, then that means we're going to go down for a bigger C there. So we kind of got to make sure this bottom is done. I would not go into this yet. All right, I would wait for this pyramid here to be taken out on the weekly chart. So while I think it's a good setup and I'd put this on a watch list, I wouldn't recommend it right now because it needs to come up a little bit more. We need to see some more bullishness follow through before I get super excited about that. But it could be a really excellent trade at some point. All right, let's keep going. OKTA. OKTA. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we looked at this one before, and now we're starting to see more bullishness come into this. We've got a couple pyramids here. Looks like we probably are going up to this target zone here. Okay, this could be a possible trade. I would not necessarily say this is a buy and hold at this point. Let me open it up. But I do think at the very least, you're probably going to get up to this target zone. So not much history. Go back to 2017 on this. We had a big move up, but also a big move down. So is this an Elliott wave 1, 2, and we're getting ready to go on 3? It's possible. But in the very least here, we should at least get to this target zone. Can't guarantee it, but that's kind of where it's looking. And that target zone is between 133 and 189, and we're at 72. So that's 100% increase. So I am liking this for a buy here. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. Try to put your stop under the most current ledge to give you that risk to reward. So probably under this current bottom here. If you went here and you went in here, let's see if you got 2 to 1. It looks like you do, pretty close. Actually, I'd put it, if you could afford it, at the bottom. It'll create a lower trade size, but that's a possibility. Another possibility is to buy a call option. Okay, you got to give it a little time to get there, so to make sure it's at least 6 months out. Okay, so OKTA is a buy. All right, good job on that one. All right, let's keep moving on to NTR. NTR is our next one. Okay, so this one again, pulling back. Green PTFs on this and this, but we still have a few active pyramids on the weekly chart. And we still have some red here. Let's look at this next week. It's not quite ready, okay? That's NTR. Let's take a look at INO. Okay, similar thing on INO. Let me just go over and take a look at where we are here. All right, let me move this all the way up. And let's see, we've got almost a green owl here coming. And it looks to me like we might have a trade pretty soon. We've got some pyramids possibly forming on the daily. Here's what I would do with this. Let's put this on hold for next week. All right, give it one more week. Let's see if it follows through to the upside. It's not quite ready yet, I don't think. SDG, right? Okay. All right, same here. This one's not quite as good as INO. It's got a red PTF on both the long and the short. It's too late to go short on this. I mean, you know, the ideal trade would have been up on these pyramids here, right? Okay, beautiful. And this is how you trail your stops on the pyramids that we use. So it kind of ratchets you right in. So that would have been a beautiful short trade, okay, from 320 roughly, or 280 anyway, down to 78 in a matter of 1 year. Wow, okay. And then look how the pyramids beautifully captured that move down. All right, so you enter at the points, okay, stops go here, and then you trail those stops down when new pyramids form. Okay, so that's where you'd be right now. So are we getting close to a bottom? Probably, okay. But look at this owl, how deep it is here. So I'm kind of thinking any relief we get to the upside is going to be profit taking on the shorts covering. But with this type of owl here, that's all it's going to be. So it would be a fib retracement trade when the time comes, but it's not quite ready yet. Okay, so that's SEDG. Keep an eye on it, but that's I would not do anything with that. All right, let's take a look at some of your others here. ZIM. ZIM for possible shorts. All right, too late for the shorts. You're getting in too late here. Again, pyramids, look at the weekly chart on this. The pyramids did a great job for a long-term short here. So it'd be better to get in here. Too risky down here, Al, okay? You don't want to get in now. We're probably going to get some profit taking. A few more lows, but not much, okay? So I don't think a short trade makes sense here. All right, let's take a look at TEK. And he's looking at a possible short for this. Again, long-term, you may be pretty good on a short trade here, but here's the thing. This is why I like to have 3 different charts I look at, or 3 different time frames. Again, it helps me time. So if I was thinking about a short trade here, okay, based on a long-term short, then let me go over here and you can see the 60-minute chart is showing bullishness here. So we've got a green PTF on this chart showing a possible high before it even sells off, if that's what it does, of getting close to about $39.50, and we're at 36. So I would wait until that short-term chart turns bearish. We kind of have a bearish chart here. This is bearish. We have an active pyramid here. So let's wait and see if we can get a better entry and then take it down. So I would say put that on a watch list for a possible short. And then we're going to have to, at that point, if something looks good, we'll take a look and see where the target zone is for that. All right, let's take a look at your next one, DVN. DVN. Okay, so DVN, green PTF on the weekly chart. Again, we've got a trend that's coming down and has been coming down for quite some time. The problem is, if you look at the daily chart, is it better to get in here or here? More riskier here, right? So you don't want to get in after the move has been made. Is there a PTF trade? Well, we got a PTF here indicating probably we're going to go below 43. So if you wanted to think about taking a short-term trade to that PTF and put your stop here, all right, you'd have 2-to-1 risk to reward. So that could be a possible short trade, but only for about a few days or a week at the most, okay? Because eventually after this moves down, after this bottoms, we should have a move back up according to this. So this is an Elliott wave 3, and so 4 is not done yet, but it's darn close. So this chart is the only chart that makes sense for any type of trade, and only if you have the PTF indicator, because that's going to tell you where that target is. All right. So I guess, if we wanted to think about a really short-term trade, we could put this on a short list for a 60-minute, I'll call it a 60-minute short, okay, with a PTF target. So that's a possibility, but otherwise I wouldn't take a short trade on that. All right, let's take a look at your next one here, OXY. All right, so this one's starting. It looks like we got some short possibilities here. We had a big run up. So now we're coming back down. We no longer have a red over here. We've got 3 pyramids here. Trying to see what a target could be on this. Let's draw in a possible retracement target here. Yeah, I don't see that much possibility unless it really, got deep into the target. So I'm thinking you got 4 pyramids in a row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 3 on this leg currently down. I'm kind of thinking no. All right, you got bullish divergence here coming up. So not my favorite trade. It's a little messy, and we're kind of getting close to the target. So no on that. Okay, OIH. I think we've had better ones here that you could take. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, yellow PTF across the board, no longer red. Kind of got a wishy-washy move down a little bit. It comes down, it bounces up, down, bounces up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pyramids. So I don't go short or long after 4 consecutive pyramids. So no on this one. Okay. All right. Yes, IWM is a winner from Jim Blue. All right, but we had some from Al as well. All right, let's take a look here. J&J. Let's take a look at Johnson & Johnson here. All right, so he's thinking of a long trade here. No. Okay. And the reason for this is red, this is red. I wouldn't do it at this point, okay? Too much bearishness, still a possibility on this. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get a little bit of a move up. Again, you may get some profit taking because you got a slight angle to the upside a little bit. But where is it going? Probably there, okay? So, you'd have to put your stop somewhere under here, and there's prices, so your risk to reward is not quite there, Al, okay? So no go on that one. Yes, OKTA was the winner for Al, right? Okay, let's take a look at RV. Is it RIVN? I think it's RIVN. Okay, and see what's cooking with that one. And this is a possible long. All right, not much history on this. It looks like it's bottoming, not quite, okay? So this is still red here. And again, do you see how nice it is to have the 3 charts? Because this chart is telling us here that short term, we're going down a little more. So even if you have bullishness on some of the other time frames, if that short term is bearish still, then you just want to hold back a little bit and wait for it to turn around before actually taking a trade, right? So this one I would put on a watch list. We may have a bottom in here. All right. This is just showing, you know, if you take the lowest low in the 60-minute chart on the far left, it's showing it's going down below 15. But the bottom is much lower than that. So this bottom could still be a bottom. But let's see if it holds, because it'll come down a little more. Let's see if we get a turnaround, okay? So hold off on this a little bit. We can look at it again. All right, let's take a look at some others here. USFD. USFD. All right. Al, that's really helpful that you're thinking about long trades on this, because that tells me, you know, what kind of advice I can give you. So that's great. All right, so what are we going to do on this? All right, we've had a big move up. We still have a red PTF on the long-term chart, so I'm not too crazy about that, but it's been red for a long time. All right, so not crazy about this at this point, because I'm not exactly sure where it's going. All right, pretty messy chart. There's not a lot of history on it too. So I would avoid this one. And also too, you're getting in a little late on this swing up, okay? This is pretty late. So, and you have bearish divergence here, and that's kind of where we actually have bearish divergence a little bit here from this high here to this high here. So yeah, I kind of think I would hold off on this, okay? No go on that one. Let's take a look at silver. Silver, we were looking at a wedge here, and it looks like it's trying to break to the upside on the wedge, just outside here. I wouldn't go do anything to the long side because of this being red here, all right? This is yellow now. I don't know if you can see that at home there. Let me open that up. You can see it a little better now. It's yellow. All right, so I probably, at this particular point with this red, not take a break of the wedge trade here. Instead, let's wait and see what happens with the longer time frame. So this is a shorter time frame wedge, a longer time frame wedge. All right, so a little bit, I'm a little hesitant on that for right now. So silver, you know, a lot of people recommended silver when it was 26. Technically, it didn't look really good to us at that point either. So we've kind of held back on getting it. Now, if silver becomes something that looks really good that you don't want to miss getting into, we'll see it on the technicals, okay? So don't worry, you won't miss it. But I wouldn't do it now, okay? Wait, hold off a little bit on that. All right, gold. I wanted to take a look at gold. We have green PTFs across the board now on this. And this is looking actually pretty good. We had our little bit of consolidation here down to this area, and now a spring to the upside. So I think gold is a buy at this point. I want to open up the long-term chart for a moment. So this was a wave 3. This was a wave 4. This occurred in 2011. Then we had a multi-year wave 4 correction, ABC, and now we're moving back up. So the interesting thing here is that we have a green PTF sitting on the 2011 high. All right, so we should break up in there, but then we should actually go quite a bit further after that. So that's probably a really good sign that we're probably going to get into the 200s on the fib extensions. So I'm not going to draw them in now because I want to make sure I get a little more history on gold before I do that. But I think I drew them in before, and they were well into the 220 to 250 range. So I think gold's actually pretty good. So I'm going to put gold down as a buy, okay? Long-term buy. Let's just double check the short-term charts. We've got, yeah, looks good across the board. So this is one I think you can hold, okay? So gold looks really good. All right, let's keep going here. Let's take a look at DKNG. All right, thinking of a long on this one. Okay, so again, a little late to the party on this one. So we got bearish divergence here. We're probably going to get some profit taking. Maybe it's going to come down a little bit. This is strong. This is kind of interesting. We no longer have a green PTF here. There's no green PTF, so we got to purely do it this on an opportunity of profit taking. In other words, wait for the pullback. And then also another way to do it is Elliott wave. So I think at this point, we need to wait for a pullback and look at it again. How big is that pullback going to have to be? Let's do this. Let's use the 60-minute chart and go for a pullback of around 34.30 down to 31. We're at 39. So let's wait for that kind of pullback and take a look at it and see if the other time frames are good. So do I like it? Yes, I think it's got a lot of legs left. I mean, look at the size of the owl on the daily chart. You know, you do not have bearish divergence on the weekly. This is not bearish divergence because we don't have a new high. All right. So, you know, the potential of this thing is that if this is a 1 and this is a 2 is to break up and go much higher. So no question, but let's just try to time it a little better. A lot of people get in late, they keep their stops too close, and then they get stopped out before they can get the move up. So let's let it pull back some on some profit taking and take advantage of that pullback rather than getting stopped out on that pullback. Okay, so keep that on the watch list, Al. Bring that next week, okay? All right, PENN. Let's take a look at this one. I think this is a gaming stock, right? Let's see what we got here. Okay, moving off its bottom nicely here. Like that, you got follow through. Also, this is interesting here. So we do have bullish divergence here, and we have bullishness here. Okay, all right. Now, the pyramid had us in a little earlier at 24, so that's okay. Probably you're going to have a pullback. You're getting a little bearish divergence. So if you wanted to wait for the 22, okay, all right. In other words, you probably get a pull back to 22, no question about it. So, but it is, if you look at the daily chart, in its infancy of a move up. So let's draw in a possible target on this. And I draw my extension, my fib extensions a little differently than some people. Some people would have put it up here. I try to do it off the Elliott wave, okay? I try to do it that way. So a 1, maybe a 2, you know, 3, 4, 5 type of thing. So let's see what we got here. I think 54 to 75, it's a double your money. And do we want to go in a little early before a pullback? I think you probably can, all right? I'm going to leave that up to you, whether you want to go in early or wait for the pullback. But I'm going to put this on the buy list. I want you to put your stop, if you can, at the bottom. If not, you got to make sure you put it under this pyramid at the very least. Now, here's the thing. This is why I said like it at the bottom if possible. If you're not going to wait for the pullback, it is possible you could get a pullback and a double bottom before it goes. So these wave 2 pullbacks, or this is an A and a B rather, the wave Bs can be as brutal as the wave 2s. So they can pull back almost all the way to the top or bottom in this case of wave 3. So you've got to give this thing leeway. So I'm going to leave it up to you. All right. This is definitely a buy. The question is, do you want to wait for it to pull back the complete B wave, or do you want to get in now? I'm going to put it in as a buy now simply because the potential is so great on this to double your money. Okay, so just put your stop low. Okay, so I'm going to put that as a buy. All right, good one. All right, Bill, how are you? Okay, repeat on QS. Absolutely. Okay, let's take a look at those guys. I like that when you bring them back, because if some of these go on a watch list and you know, we don't look at them again, you may miss the opportunity. Okay, so good to bring it back. All right, so what's cooking on this? Okay, so it is pulled back okay, this is a great example of, you know, if we said, okay, go in here, but look, then you had a little bit of a pullback. So you can get a better price sometime if you're patient and wait for that pullback. All right, so what do you do now? All right, so let's first take a good look at this chart here. And just let's grab a horizontal line here. Okay, so if you were to go long at any time here, the success of this trade relies on this being a bottom where this red line is, right? Because that's probably where your stop's going to go. And so you have to be pretty sure that that's going to go there. Now, it's getting better, but you still have a red owl here, and you've got a red owl here and a red owl here. If I'm going to go against a red owl on a weekly chart, I need to have the owls green on the daily and on the 60-minute. So this is still a wait and see. All right. Again, let's look at that next week, but this is not quite ready, I think, right now. Let's move on to your next one here, BLDP, and see how that's doing. All right, so this is a great one to keep an eye on. Be sure this is on everybody's watch list. Again, it's not quite ready. We still have an active short trade on the weekly chart, so I need that to be taken out. Still got some red here, so let's just give that a little more time. This pyramid was taken out, okay? So you have no problem there. The potential of this is going to be tremendous, okay? But we got to make sure the bottom's in, and we need a little more time for that, okay? So good, thank you. So hold off on that one. Let's look at that one again next week too. Thanks, Bill. All right, back to Al. Let's see what we got here. MLCO. And Al's thinking about a long position here. Okay, again, I get it. What Al's trying to do is wait for these things to bottom and then get in early. And I love that strategy. Again, red PTF here says that's bottom is not quite in yet. So hold off, okay? All right, and EVH. EVH. All right, so long on this one. Let's see. Okay, so don't see anything bearish except for the owl and the active pyramid on the weekly chart. So we got an active pyramid here. All right, bearishness here. This is okay. Yellow is okay on the PTFs for either a long or short trade. This is good. This is good. Okay. So again, this active pyramid on the chart is kind of making me a little bit nervous for jumping in at this point. Also, too, let's check and see if we've got enough profit taking. I'm going to open up this chart and just quickly take a closer look at it. Let's draw some fib retracements in here and here. All right, so we hit the target twice. That's a good sign. All right, once here, once here. So we still have this active. We still have this red. Now, if this is a bottom here or here, then the only thing really necessary to do is wait for it to take out that pyramid. If it does, and one of those bottoms is a bottom, let's draw a fib extension and get an idea of where the target could be. So we'll take the lower one. So we're looking at a target between 43 and 56, and we're at 29. So not a bad trade. Al, wait for it to breach this pyramid. And when it does, when prices get above there, then go immediately to the lower time frames and see if you still have a green owl and a green owl on the 60-minute. Now, I don't mind if the PTFs are yellow, but we want to make sure we take out that particular pyramid. And let me just do one more quick thing here. Just bring the data box over here for a minute. So the high on that pyramid is 3164. Let's see what the high is on this PTF is 34, what is 3440. So The pyramid has a higher high. So we got to wait for that pyramid to get taken out. If this PTF on the 60 was higher than the pyramid, then that may be a case or an exception to take the trade, because there's a high probability we're going to go above the PTF high. And so therefore, if that was equal or better than the high of the pyramid, then I would say you could take a chance on it. All right, but it's not, so don't do it. Okay. All right, so that's that. All right. Yes, gold is a winner for today, team, right? You are. Okay. PENN, yes, PENN is on the buy list. Okay, let's take a couple more here. SHOT, S-H-O-T. S-H-O-T. Long. Well, Al, let's see. If you'd asked me a little while back, I would have said fine, you know, back in October. But now we've had the run up. So the pyramids did a great job capturing this trend. In fact, it got you in, you know, right about here on that. Okay, so that would have actually been pretty good. So what do you do now? Well, green, 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 red, green. Okay, here's the way I would do it. A couple things. I would probably go long if the owl goes green on the 60-minute. I love the fact that you've had the pullback. So that's a good thing. Pullback's good. That's done. All right. So you've definitely had a pullback that you would want to wait for before going into this, since it ran up so much. So that box is checked. You have a very strong owl on the daily still. So it's probably going back up, especially with these green here across the board. All right. Now, you're not going to miss it. A couple things to do. This is called an inside price bar that's forming today. All right. And basically, very simply, that's just inside the previous price bar, right? So inside price bar is a form of technical analysis that is actually a very good thing to use. And the reason is statistically, if prices on the following day, so this would have to be Monday. So if today's price bar remains inside the price bar before it, then if it breaks out above this, you want to go long, because you're good for 2 to 5 price bars or possibly a new trend in that direction. If it breaks below, you don't want to go long because you're only good for 2 to 5 price bars to the downside. So maybe that means it's going to make a double bottom. Okay. So I would not do anything until prices break out of that. Now, with that said, if it probably, you know, let's say on Monday we get a breakout to the upside, this will probably turn this green anyway. So you'll get the go signal either way. But let everybody, okay, this is an excellent opportunity. Very cheap stock, all right, probably no options on it, but this is a excellent opportunity for a quick move to the upside. And you can certainly see it's pretty volatile. So you have to put your stop, all right, at least under here. Don't put it under the inside bar. Put it under whatever the lowest low is. And wait, all right? Wait till Monday and let's see what happens with that. So I'm not going to put it on the buy list, but I'm going to put it as one of the strongest ones to go on your watch list. And by next week, let's take a look at, bring that again next week, Al. Let's see what happens to it by the time we come back next week, okay? So, yeah, so very good. All right, AMD, let's take a look at that one for a possible long. Okay, so I would have rather you gotten in a little earlier if possible, but you're right at the pyramid entry here. So again, all right, here's my only concern with this one. All right, you're seeing a little bearish divergence here. This is a big move off this bottom. So the retracement's coming on this. I wouldn't use the pyramid for your stop. And the reason for it, if you get some profit taking, you could get profit taking coming into this zone here, the point of inflection. All right, and you'll get stopped down. So I think this is looking a-okay for a long, long trade. Let's open this up. So here's my thoughts on AMD. Don't short it, okay? That's for sure. All right, so I'm liking the pullback. We got the pullback. Let me try to figure out where a good possible 2 is here and there. So I'm thinking the target, the pullback was pretty deep on that one. So I'm thinking the target's 149 to 208. Okay, 149 to 208. And you've got a PTF, this is the kicker, way up here. Okay, so this PTF is calling for highs above here. Whoops, readjusted, so the high is here as well. Okay, so I think you're probably good for the target range. I think you'll take out the top of 3, all right? And so probably, you know, I'm thinking 180 to 220, possibly in this range here, okay, is where you're going. So I think the trade is okay for a long-term trade. Let me just check again the short-term time frames. You got green here, green here. Okay. So again, this is one of these funny ones that, you know, you probably don't want to miss it. All right. But at the same time, do you want to wait for the pullback first before going in? So you want to wait for the pullback. That's fine. Okay. Do that and then look for bullishness to come back. That's possible. And you are getting bearish divergence here. So I'm thinking maybe a pullback, you know, into that 110 range, right around in here. Okay. So I probably wait for that. If you don't care about that and you just want to get in it with the possibility of getting into the target, okay. But I think you could get a better setup if you wait a little bit. So I guess I'm gonna put this on a hold and wait for the pullback, all right, or watch list, all right. So wait for the pullback on this one. And again, if somebody says no, I'll buy it and hold it, I think you'll be fine. Just make sure your stop is below at least 105 to give you a fair chance to hang in there during the pullback, okay? So that's kind of where I'm looking on that. All right, let's keep going here. RUM. All right, let's see, possible long here. All right, again, still have an active pyramid and a very, very deep here. So it is possible it could be moving into a correction area here. But again, not quite ready yet. Not quite yet. Looks like, let me see if we've taken this pyramid out here. Bring up the box for here. So this pyramid high here is sitting at 532. We're at 527. So yeah, it's not, this pyramid's technically still active. Let's look at it next week, okay? So that's a no-go for right now. All right, PBR. All right, so long on this one. Let me open up the weekly chart just to see. Oh boy, that's pretty messy. Okay, let me just see here. All right, so we had probably a 3 back in 2008. We're coming down to some type of movement down, bigger than a 4, I think, almost a 2. That's kind of messy a little bit. There's a lot of pyramids on here, okay, to the upside, break into the upside. So we've got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pyramids. And since the most active one, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I'm thinking a little bit more dynamic movement visible on the daily chart. Not doing it for me. Okay. So I would pass on that one. All right. Let's take a look at your next one here. MLCO. I'm not sure what you're doing with this one, but we've got a red PTF here. You can't go short simply because it's too late to get in, okay? Better here or here, not here, right? And it's nowhere near a long trade because we still got a red PTF on the 60 and some bearish pyramids. So no go on that one. All right. Terry, how are you? SUN. Long profit taking. Okay, so Terry's in this already. So he's kind of inquiring about a long profit taking. Well, I'll tell you, let's see what we got here. So this is pretty strong still. This is yellow, okay? This is red, kind of interesting. So the next correction, we should go pretty far down below here. but this is still green. This is turning red here too. All right. Well, from a technical standpoint here, all right, you've got some pressure points to keep an eye on. You could either put a stop here or put a stop here on that if you're interested in profit taking. All right, you could also use some of the trend lines on the trend line master for that. So the trend line, short-term trend line, super short-term trend line was taken out. You got this one sitting here and then another one sitting right here, right? So you could use those as well. So I would kind of maybe at this particular point, Terry, I don't know where you got in. I don't know what kind of profits you have, but if you're nervous short-term, you could put it under here. Now, let's just take a look here quickly. You don't have a lot of history here. So the million-dollar question is, are we going to break out of this high? We've gotten close. So you're probably the closer you get, you kind of get a little resistance, and then it could come back up. But if you're happy with the profits you've made here, then I would put it under one of those levels. Now, the pyramids, since they got you in pretty early, got you right out here, okay? That's the last pyramid. Same thing with this one here. So it's kind of got you out, missed this one move up, but, you know, that could be the last gas before it sells off. So, yeah, profit taking at one of those 2 points should do it. Is that good for you? All right, let's go here, take a look at STX. You know, you could also always, Terry, if you're undecided about profit taking, you could always take, you know, a third of your position off or a half a position off if you still see some more upside potential, but want to take some profits, partial profits. All right, long on STX. Okay, so the short time frames are indicating long. All right, where is this baby going? Okay, that's not helping me too much. We got a 3 of some sort here, but that's kind of a weird ABC 3. So that's 3. This is a 3 inside, 4, 5. So there's your hook. All right, so do we have the completion of a pullback here? Possibly, okay? It is possible. Not very clear, though. All right, so what is this show helping? Let's see if there's any more clarity on this one. That's a deep pullback. All right, so this is indicating a long trade. The PTF's got a high here right now, fairly close, because you see it went yellow when it broke above here. So now the new high is just where my cursor is here. So that's not helping us a lot. Seeing a little bearish divergence here. So we had a high here that generated this owl. Now we had a new high here. And so that's bearish divergence slightly, okay? So that's a little bit of a concern. I'm not thinking so. The trade would have been okay earlier on the 60. This is not that clear. This is not that clear. This would have been clearer, I think. But I got to scratch my head too many times on this one. No go. Okay. That's one of my rules. If I have to think about it too long, and chances are I'm trying to make the trade work versus the trade being any good. All right. So let's take a look at X. See, I look at that, and why would you bother? Why would you bother with that trade? It's just so unclear, it doesn't make any sense, okay, on that time frame. This time frame here, I don't see any possible target or anything that I'm thinking here. Maybe the 60-minute chart could have been traded, but, you know, a gap open, so no, the clarity is not there on it, okay? All right. So, Terry, 82K. I mean, you got 82K profit in that? Good for you, man. Yeah, I like GBT for a long. Let's take another quick look on that one. So GBTC, you know, we're bullish on it. My only problem with GBTC right now is that it's due for some profit taking pullback. Okay, so I would probably wait for the pullback at this point before going long because, you know, this has got bearish divergence. This is still strong. So I think any pullback is just going to be a minor 4 inside of 3, and that may be not a bad opportunity. Now, with that said, okay, I do think we're going to take out the all-time high on GBTC. So you definitely want to be in there. So you know, as far as the timing, if you want to go in now here, you got to put your stop really low under this pyramid. So make sure you use risk control. But you probably would want to wait for a pullback. But GBTC, very bullish on that. Okay, very. I'm not going to put it down on a buy here today simply because I'm going to wait for the pullback. All right, Bill, let's see what you got cooking here. Let's see, PLTR. You guys are good today. A lot of good ones. Okay, so definitely moving up off the bottom. All right, not a lot of history on this bad boy. All right, so we're pulling back a little bit on the shorter time frame. So we got a little bit of red and we got prices pulling back. You've got green here. So I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure out where a target on this. This is a 3. Boy, this could be a 5 here. I see maybe one more high on this and then that's it. Then I think you're going to have some selling. So I would use the 60-minute to try to time one more high, but it's still coming down. So let's look at this next week, but no go for now. All right, excellent. Okay, Terry, 82K with 3,500 shares. So you might want to lighten up on that. Lighten up on that and buy, Terry, buy your wife a car. She'll love you for it. All right, anybody else? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Gee, we're only on for an hour today. This was a short session. What was it, last week? We're on for like an hour and 20 minutes. All right, let me just recap kind of what we did real quick here. All right, so the ones I like today are IWM, OKTA, was that DVN or DUN? Let me see, DVN or DUN? Let me see. Can't even read my own handwriting. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, it was this one, DVN. So it was a short trade, just on the 60-minute time frame though. This is not for everybody, okay, this DVN one. All right, gold we liked, okay, GLD. We like that one, okay. And PENN, P-E-N-N, okay, P-E-N-N. So those are the winners. All right, Al's got one more, CLF. Let's take a look at that one. Oh, this ain't bad. Not bad on this one. All right, let's see. I'm gonna open up this bad boy. So this probably was a pretty good bottom down in here, right? So this is green, I'm liking that. This just turned green, I'm liking that. We do not have any bearish pyramids, I'm liking that. So possible target, we'll use a fib extension for this. Okay, so I'd use the PTF target because that's going to put it smack into the extension level. All right, and we've got a green here. Okay, so a little pullback coming here. Okay, this pyramid's no longer active. Okay, new one's forming here. So I'm liking this. Okay, so this I'd like to turn green. Here's a very simple way to handle this one. Let's see if this pyramid turns green. If it does, go. Okay. So CLF goes on a watch list until that pyramid turns. So bring that next week, okay? Because that could be a good one. Because if you get in off that pyramid here, then I'm going to want you to put your stop not on the pyramid though. I'm going to want you to put it probably down in here, just in case you get one more high, a pull back. I don't want you to get stopped out because this is a kind of a long-term trade up to here. This is, this is going to take, this is, you know, to reach this target, whenever I put a target on the weekly chart, you've got to understand that may take years to get there, a year or two, maybe longer. So it's not a quick trade for that type of target. And any other target's probably not worthwhile. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. So bring that next week, but I kind of would not do anything with that until that pyramid is hit on the daily chart. See, it's blue now. So when prices get above the point of that, it's going to reassess the momentum. And also then if everything passes the calculations, it will give you a buy. So the pyramid basically is looking for higher highs, higher lows, which is the definition of a trend, but also looking at momentum on all sides of the triangle. Okay, that's how it works. All right, anything else? Well, you guys are great. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 really good ones, and then that DVN short, quick trade on the 60-minute chart. So you got to be very, astute to watch that one really closely. All right, well, that's it for today. All right, hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I think I got them all. If I missed any, let me know here. All right, again, give us a like before we go here. All right, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and roll over. Let's just see what the short-term time frames. It's not a very markets might be closed today. Let's see what we got here. They close early. Let's see what they're doing here. Yeah, no, they're still moving along. The futures will be open a little longer. So let's see what we got here. We had a pullback. We may have a trade to the upside. Let me just remove some of these previous lines on here. Let's take a look and see if there's anything on the MES. So no, that's pretty shallow today. All right, MYM coming down. All right, I will put it on the NASDAQ. So these are time frames we use for day trading, and we're not going to do any of that today, but I'll just leave them on there before we wrap it up. This is the 15-second chart. So again, we have a short-term chart for day trading on the 15-second. So believe it or not, every price bar represents 15 seconds. We got 1 minute here. Every price bar represents a minute, and a 5-minute chart here. If you're interested in this kind of thing, we have a day trading room that we run as well. All right, so I will call it a day. NG is good from Jim Blue. He's in our day trading room. Let's check that out, Jim. Thank you. Ooh, boy, is it ever. Ooh, that pyramid did a nice job on that. A little extended now. All right. So I probably look to take some profits, maybe off these pyramids here, but I'd leave some on because after the correction, it's going back up because this is green in terms of probability. So boy, Jim, did you get in early on this one? Hopefully you did. Okay. This is a nice pyramid entry there right before it. I'll keep it on there. That's a pretty exciting one. All right. Okay, so that's it for today. All right, I'll put a little music on and I'll close the room in about 5 minutes. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much.